right. Well, welcome to Align 25. Welcome to 2025. It feels like a really exciting time to be alive. And as cliche as that is, man, I don't know about you guys, but I feel an energy in the air of shifting. I feel the world really changing right now, and I feel people waking up, and I feel people stepping into their power and beginning to really go inwards within themselves and rediscover authenticity, rediscover what we really desire in life. And to me, that really resonates in my body as freedom, love, and abundance. And I think that, all of us in some way, shape, or form are really dreaming of living a life that is aligned with freedom, love, and abundance. Unless that's just me. But let's get a little gauge of the room as to how we're all feeling stepping into 2025. Drop in the chat how you're feeling. 1 out of 10, 10 being incredible, one being not so great, heading into 2025. What's the sentiment here? 10 bomb from Karnev. Let's go. 10, 8s, 8s, 9s, 10s. We got a lot of people feeling good vibes. Anyone under an 8? It's okay to be honest. Dude, this is good energy. All right, let me ask you this then. So for the people that shared like 8s in here, what are we looking for? What's that what could bump us up? Give me like one or two things. It's a little bit more pressure now. It's not just putting a number. Removing mental blocks, Erica. Beautiful. Thanks for being here, Erica. We got a lot of familiar faces. We got a lot of new faces, and it's really great to see everyone. Overcoming limiting beliefs, making new friends, more intentionality, focus, fewer distractions. I like it. I like it. Okay, so well, this is beautiful because a lot of what we're going to be stepping into here is going to address these on a kind of a deeper level. Um, when we step into um, a new year, what do we hear all the time, right? It's New Year's resolutions, it's habits, it's, the goals that we're setting, and it's become kind of a cliche joke around January, mid-January, January, February. It's like who's actually staying to their New Year's resolutions, and honestly, and then throughout the year, there's a point where everyone stops talking about them, and you just forget about them all along, and then you just never hear about resolutions, and then December comes along and we hear them. And so, what this workshop is really intended to be for us all today is to be a new way of aligning ourselves and a new way of thinking about how we can approach a year to really create success in our life, to create the best year of our lives naturally. And that really comes to me through alignment. And I'll share a little bit more about kind of my journey in with alignment and why I've kind of landed as alignment as my personal soul strategy for creating a great year in 2025 in a little bit. Okay. So this is about stepping into your truth and creating a great year through alignment of your energy. All right. So before we jump right in, we're going to take a moment, everyone here together, and we're going to slow down because that to me is the beginning. It's the first step of alignment is slowing down. We live in a very fast-paced world where we want the next dopamine hit. We want the answers. We want to know things, and we want the quick fixes. And true transformation begins in the silence before everything. So right now, we've got a lot going on. We're coming into a workshop, anticipating, some shifts, some new knowledge, some wisdom, some things that we can take away, and you're going to get all of that. But let's just put down anything that we have in our hands, put down the pens, put down the phones, and just take a minute to sit with ourselves. Okay. So Just sitting wherever you're sitting, closing your eyes, and we're just gonna take in a deep breath. So closing our eyes, noticing how our body feels right now. Just taking a moment to scan through from the top of the head, slowly down the body, just noticing any areas of tension and inviting yourself to soften that area. Notice your breath. Don't change the breath. Allow the breath just to be breathing. Just notice it. Take in a deep breath now in through your nose, filling up the belly right below your belly button, and let it out through your mouth. Another deep breath and out. One more. Nice and easy. In and out. Release any tension. And just notice how the body feels now. Imagine a warm golden light beginning at the top of your head, slowly moving down your body until it encompasses your whole body. A warm golden light. As you feel this light, just relax a little deeper into it. This workshop is about reconnecting with your authentic self and creating alignment across three essential aspects of your being. We're going to talk about the higher self today. We're going to talk about the lower self. We're going to talk about source. And when we find alignment between these aspects of our being, what we happens is a vision naturally emerges along with the beginning, the first few steps to bring this vision into reality. So now just noticing your body again, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. And when you're ready, come back into the space. Beautiful. Thank you for participating. And as we step into this, I'm going to remind you that people can come to a workshop, you can go to a class, you can go to a seminar, you can go take the courses, but transformation begins when you decide to take a new small action. And so today, this isn't about me sitting here sharing things with you. This is about all of us coming together intentionally in a space to co-create something special for our lives. And we all deserve that. And we're all worthy of it. And we all have the power in us. We are that power to create beautiful transformation in our lives and in the lives of our families and our friends. And those create ripples across the world. So as I go through this, please take what resonates and leave what does not. And there's going to be things in here that might go, wow, or oh, I didn't see that. And it might really kind of shift something in your body. There might be just a new idea. But there also might be things that are like, ugh, I don't like that. Or nah, I don't agree with that. Leave it behind. Because we all are unique. And this is when we get into alignment, we begin to discern where our truth is. And we all have our own relative experiences of our own truth. Some things just aren't going to resonate, so leave them. Okay. And as we go through this, I might use some words that are unfamiliar. I might use some terms for things that are unfamiliar. And I encourage you not to try to overthink things, but to hear kind of the base value, the simplicity, the wisdom that's underneath the words, because words are very clumsy. Okay. So take what resonates behind them as we step into this. So why align? When we are in alignment, alignment clarifies our decisions and it creates space for meaningful relationships and it attracts success naturally. And when I talk about success, I'm really talking about a fulfilled life where we feel free, we feel abundant, and we feel love around us. Because to me, I mean, what else is success if we don't feel whole inside? And so when we're aligned within ourselves, we're able to decide things quickly, right? So if we know what we value and we know what is true for us, well, then if a decision is presented to me, so say what I find that's in alignment with me, that aligns with my vision, that aligns with my unique gifts and what I'm interested in and what I like and what I don't like. And I've decided that to be like in alignment for me is making healthy food choices, right? Well, now when I'm sitting there in front of a banana and a donut, that decision is really easy. Because if I'm going to choose from alignment, well, I know what aligns with my values, and it's going to be a banana, not the donut. But if I value having freedom and not having to be so rigid with my health and be able to enjoy the things that I want, well, then now that decision's easier. Either or, it doesn't matter. I can choose this one or that one, right? So what we're going to be starting to do is we want to get a gauge of what alignment means for all of us so that we can make decisions about how we want to show up in each day so that we're getting the results that we want. And we're creating this space within our bodies and within our environment around us that will attract meaningful relationships, a stronger sense of purpose, more sense of freedom in our lives, that shifts in our job and our career. So alignment is different than this kind of hustle and forcing culture, right? Because if I'm in alignment, well, and I think actually I'm going to get to this on the next slide, but when I'm in alignment with myself, things are flowing easily because I'm aligned. But when I'm trying to hustle and I'm trying to force things, well, if those things aren't in alignment with what I'm here to do, with what my unique gifts are, and what my strengths are, and what my weaknesses are, and what my light is, and what my shadows are, well, then I might be forcing something and that's not in alignment with myself and moving in a direction that's going to be draining and exhausting. And that's what happens when we're out of alignment. We tend to feel drained and exhausted, and we're trying things and we feel all of this resistance. And so when we begin to come into alignment and we're beginning to honor what's aligned with our soul, now we step into growth that's really aligned in the right direction, aligned in a direction that's going to feel fulfilling for us. And it's also going to be uncomfortable. But that is the discomfort that's shedding what no longer serves us. And it's not forcing ourselves into a box, right? We often, when we think about growth, we think, okay, new year, I want to grow. And so I got to get uncomfortable because growth only happens at the edge of my comfort zone, right? And so I got to push myself to do uncomfortable things. It's like, okay, great. Yes. And growth doesn't always have to be in something that's also out of alignment. The edge of our comfort zone when we're talking about alignment can also be making really uncomfortable decisions that other people might not agree with or think is the best, but you really feel like that's what you want to do. And it's really uncomfortable to kind of step outside of society and do something different because that feels like what's true for you. But everyone else, maybe the science says it's something else, or your parents say it's something else, or your teachers always said it's something else, and you're like, yeah, but and so you could get on the edge of that comfort zone and fight and hustle through that, what everyone's telling you to do. And that's really uncomfortable. And you're like, yeah, I'm growing. But are you growing in the right direction? And we want a tree is going to grow up and align itself with the sun. It's not going to grow, sideways and away from the sun. That's going to be really uncomfortable for that tree, but where is it getting it? So authentic alignment Means that we're really done chasing and we're done trying to force life to happen, force what we want to happen. But we begin to step into a place where we're naturally in the flow of things and we begin to start attracting things into our lives. And that's where the sauce really begins to happen. And when we're sitting here, when we focus on 2025 or a new year and we're only focused on the resolutions and the goals and the habits, well, then we might be closing ourselves off to even bigger and even better opportunities because we haven't slowed ourselves down to ask, are these goals and these habits even in alignment with what I value, or is society what told me I should value? And that's a really important question to ask ourselves. Because if we're only going off of what society says important, we're dishonoring our intuitive inner being. And we're always going to feel resistance from that. So when we step into authentic alignment with our own selves, we're stepping out of resistance and into flow. Great way to visualize this with ourselves is just like a drawer in your kitchen. Now, Matt, you pull that drawer out and then it gets off of its little tracks, and then you try to shove it in, and it's like stuck. It's really resisting you. And you probably could get it in there, but you got to really jam it in. That's resistance, and that's where oftentimes we're at in our lives. We're facing all of this resistance constantly. Maybe it's time to step back, slow down, and ask what's really in alignment. Because when we get that back into alignment, even a minor adjustment back onto its tracks, you can just tap that drawer and it's going to roll right back. This is what we're talking about with our lives. And this is what this whole thesis on an approach to 2025 is really all about. And I'm telling you, it doesn't mean it's going to be rainbows and butterflies and sunshine all the time, because that's not what this means either. There's still going to be challenges. So, freedom, abundance, fulfillment, they come from aligning with your truth, not someone else's blueprint. And I think we're all sick of following someone else's blueprint. And do we agree with that? Or do we all like walking in line with what everyone else tells us? Yeah, figured that was the sentiment. So this is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you already are. And as we step into our authentic alignment, we step into the transformation that we've been desiring. We can step into it now, and the transformation happens now. Because a year, when we look at a year is a series of this moment that we're all sharing right now, just extrapolated over time. This moment, feel right now your butt on the chair and wherever you're at, this is it. The whole entire year is encompassed in right now, this moment. And so as we can slow down and not need to focus all, what's coming in June, in August, in December, and all those things, and we can come back to now and we can ask, do I feel in alignment now? And am I taking action from alignment right now? And if we can come back to that first principle, you'll watch and suddenly it'll be December 31st and you'll go, oh my gosh, this year was incredible. This year was full of things that I did not expect. It didn't go anything as planned, but I am standing here more of myself, feeling freer, more abundant, and more love around me than ever. I get the chills as I say that because I'm speaking from the experience of myself, and it's the only reason I'm sharing this. So, my experience, right? So, a lot of you have probably been following me for a while. Some of you, maybe not so long. And I'm not going to go super deep into my whole story. But like, I've been through this journey and I'm still in the journey. And it's a lifelong journey. And that's going to be something that we really get to honor as we step into our alignment, is that it's a lifelong journey of being in this moment aligned. But when I began this journey, really, it really began in like 2021, 2022. And it started with like 75 hard. And I was doing all these discipline habits and I was stepping into a new version of myself. And then it was, creating content and trying to be a coach. And then it was, learning how to run a business and marketing and sales and writing copy and building funnels and all of that, the stuff that you just have to learn when you begin to build a business. And then it was, posting online consistently and building an audience and funneling people into the business and being of service and all these things. But I'll tell you what, for the first few years, it was like constantly thinking all of the things that I desire have got to be like right at the end of like this kind of 6 month stint, or like this year, this is going to be the year it all happens. And then I kind of come to the end of that year and I'm just like, like Not yet, not yet. Okay. And then it's like this year. All right, this year's the year it all happens. And then I'm going in it, and then I did a 100-day challenge, and then and then I blew up on Instagram and all these things, and then it's like great, I blew up on Instagram. Yes, I got what I wanted. And then all of a sudden, I feel like a total imposter, and I'm not being my authentic self because now I'm trying to show up as someone different. And then, I go through this darkness and I'm trying everything in business to try to find how to be successful. And then really, this year comes along, and kind of the beginning of the year, I had set this intention. Here's me at the beginning of the year. The year had began really with a transformational kind of event for myself, which was my first time ever really speaking in public to a big group. And went back to my high school, and I spoke to the whole school. It was like 500 students and all my teachers. And it was this big paradigm shift. But what I had found was, even in that, afterwards, I was like, something was missing. I didn't feel like I was in alignment. I felt like it was like I got what I wanted. I wanted to do speaking engagements, but something's missing. And so throughout this year, it was a completely different approach than any year that I've had. This year was not about all of these different goals and these new resolutions and the habits and this big challenge. This year was about surrendering deeper. This year was about forgetting about what's going to happen in 2 months from now and being right here, right now, just focusing on how can I let go even deeper? How can I trust even deeper? And through that, I was really guided to go even deeper into myself and deeper into my shadow sides. And at the beginning of the year, I thought, I got to get rid of all the shadow sides. I got to reframe these limiting beliefs, and I got to let go of all of that because I thought those were the things that were holding me back. But what I realized this year, because my approach, instead of going up and like trying to get somewhere, and I actually this year kind of went down, and I said, let's go darker, let's go deeper inside. And I went into all the limiting beliefs and the core stories and the feelings, and I mean, I cried more this year than I ever have in my life. The saddest experiences of my life, the most darkness that I've had in my life, the most emptiness, the most feelings of being completely worthless and empty and a complete failure in my life. But because I went so deep into that, I am experiencing, and I feel emotions coming up when I even say it, the most light in my life. And it's everything is beginning to fall into place in this whole like effortless, like touch the drawer because it's in alignment, it's on its tracks, and it just goes in. It feels like that is kind of my experience of life right now. It's like, all right, we got a shadow coming on. Let's feel this so deeply. Let's feel all the pain that's coming up. And through that, these gifts emerge in this light. And then suddenly life seems to be giving me everything that I've wanted with way less effort. And it's totally new, and it's this creative experience. And it's like I'm playing with Legos with life. And instead of learning from everyone else and doing what everyone else thinks, feels like I'm in my bedroom as a little kid with a box of Legos, like, all right, fuck what everyone else says and the box that everyone else puts, and I'm just building my own thing. And it's more exciting than I can even put into words. And so now, like, this was like me like trying to like be the version of myself that I wanted to be like this, powerful version of Ben. And now it's just like, I mean, I feel like I took off 100 pounds of weights that were off of me, and I'm just me. And I feel joyous, and I feel like a child. And I feel like what I had began the year looking for is the complete opposite of what I found, but it's beyond words better. So, just sharing, like, what I'm sharing is my experience. And so not all of this is going to resonate with all of you, but finding alignment. Okay. So now this is where we're going to begin kind of getting into the aspects where I'm going to ask you to write some things down and recognize, we only have a limited amount of time here. And for the sake of that, we'll spend a couple moments kind of with some of the things that come up. But I want you to write down some of the questions as well that I'm going to share with you as we kind of go through this. And I want you to reflect on these on your own time, because that's, again, you can come here, you can listen to what's here, but until you take actually action on, what's being shared in your life, you're not really going to know what feels like it works for you and what's in alignment or not. Alignment kind of comes by trial and error. Um, so And as we're going through, if you notice like little shifts, or you notice like a new perspective or a new word or a new idea or something that's coming to you, write it down. Put a couple words down so that you can kind of let that wisdom, so that you write it down and you can stop thinking about it and just come back and just absorb and listen. You don't need to be taking a ton of notes. There's not going to be, it's going to be, there's simple slides. But absorb the wisdom here and then apply it in your life rather than trying to memorize all of the kind of knowledge as facts in here. Okay. Um, and actually, before we jump in, I'm going to take just a moment to look at the chat because if I look at the chat and I talk at the same time, you guys are going to see the most chaotic brain you've ever witnessed. Um, and I want to just pause and feel the sentiment. How are we feeling right now? Is this resonating? How are we feeling? Are we feeling good? We feeling not so good? Let me know so I can connect with all of you. Relates so heavy. All we have is now, 100%. Yeah. Past 5 years, feel every word. I feel you, Erica. Beautiful. All right. Feeling hopeful, looking forward to this, inspiring me to continue diving deep. Yeah. Yeah, Alex. I'm telling you, like, ooh, guys, like anything out of anything, it's the least sexiest out of all of this, but it is the most transformational. It's the dark stuff. It's the shadow sides of ourselves that we don't like, that we want to get rid of. It's the limiting beliefs, it's the pain. And when we can find ourselves in a safe space with safe, whether that's one person to feel like we can express to, or a whole community where we feel safe together to be vulnerable and authentic, this is where our light shines because our light it's released when we unpack the gift of our shadow. Write that down. Our light is released when we unpack the gift of our shadow. Okay. So finding alignment. So I think about this kind of like a triangle, almost like, the Trinity. There's, to me, what's really coming through me is there's three aspects of coming into alignment within ourselves. And as we step into the self-help space or the spiritual kind of growth space, what happens is oftentimes people focus on only one aspect of these and want to like get rid of the other or kind of bypass the other. And I've found that because I've been down all three of these roads, and I found that like going down each road has led me back to them all being interconnected and absolutely essential, and honoring all of them as equal and as an aspect of what we're experiencing. And as we can integrate them all together, well, you'll all find out what happens. So all of these are equal and no one has more kind of importance than the other. But it begins with source. Okay. And then we have our lower self. And then we have our higher self. Okay. So source, or lower self, or higher self. So what are these? Well, actually, before we get into that, what these all are culminating to is a authentic and aligned vision that moves through you. So as we align ourselves with source, we align ourselves with our higher self, and we align ourselves with our lower self, this convergence moves a vision out of us. It's almost as if us, as we're all standing here, like, or sitting here, we're an instrument for what happens when the convergence of these come together. And it's a vision that shines through us. And we all came here, we're all here now with a unique vision for life. And it doesn't have to be some like big and grand vision. It can be, it can be whatever you want it to be. I mean, it could go from, completely transforming the world and having, billions of people following you and feeding billions of people and flying private jets to having a small little cabin in the woods with some people that you love and living in, quiet and solitude. They're equal in their measure because they're the vision that comes through you. What it is that you desire is beautiful no matter what that is. And a lot of us, we come in and our vision is very skewed by everyone else, by society and the boxes and the movies and the teachers and our parents' vision for us and our parents' vision for themselves and our friends. And that's all beautiful. We get to use all of that. But we get to now come in and find what is our unique, authentic vision. What is my unique one of one essence here to experience in this life? And it's not going to be one like pinpointed vision. It's going to be an expansive vision that's always evolving in each moment. But it's a vision that moves through you, not that you're trying to grab. Okay. So I like to kind of think about this as like ourselves. And it's like we have source, we have our lower self, we have our higher self. And then coming from that is this light that opens in our heart as this vision. Just a kind of a fun way to think about it. I'm a very visual person. So, source, right? When I say source, what do I mean? When I say source, really to me, this is our relationship with the universe, with the divine flow of life, and really the unseen support available to you. That's really it. It's not any of this woo woo, whatever. It's not, it doesn't have to be all of this different language, which, I tend to also gravitate towards and like. Um, but it's like, it's deeper than that. This is extremely practical, right? This is source. Source is something that it takes time for us to slow down and to connect with because it's not so obvious. Like if we didn't have, you know, Isaac Newton have an apple fall on his head and discover gravity and then teach it to everyone, we might not have any idea of gravity, right? We might just walk on this earth and not know why we're not floating off into nothingness, right? But because, science has kind of proved, that gravity exists. Well, now it's like we don't see gravity. You're not looking, oh, there's gravity. Unless you see someone falling or someone standing and you could say that's gravity at work, holding them down here on earth, but it's something we can't see, we can't smell, we can't taste, we can't touch, and yet we all believe it. We all know it to be true. We all trust that gravity is going to keep us on this earth. And so source is not about this mystified being, God, the universe, energy, and all of that. Source is like everything's got to come from something. So where the fuck did we come from? We're born. We're born into this world. I didn't choose that. Did I? At least I don't have a conscious experience of that. But it's like, but I'm here. I go stand on a beach and I look outwards and I see the sunrise and I see this vast ocean and this beach. And if we just take a deep breath in and it's like, where could this have come from? And we just ask ourselves that enough. What I've found in my life is I'm like, there's got to be something else. And as I've kind of just opened myself to that, because I was very closed off to kind of even just, I would never be able to have this conversation with you for up until I was probably 21 years old. And now it's like, as I've opened to that and I've developed a relationship with something greater and I've opened myself to surrender to it, I mean, you can't convince me that there's not something that's greater over there that's kind of pushing us along. Okay, so source. It's our relationship with the universe, with the divine flow, and it's the unseen support available to us. Imagine if we had this unseen support that is the source of the universe and this earth and everything that we've ever experienced that's there supporting us. Even when we don't see it, it's still there supporting us. And so when we can relax into that, now we can let that support us even more. Our higher self. Our higher self is the part of you that holds your divine blueprint. It's your potential, your truth, and your deepest wisdom. Like we can kind of think of our higher self almost as like the fully aligned and connected to source version of ourselves. It's like almost like the version of ourselves that it's like if we were to imagine the absolute best and most aligned version of ourselves that's fully in flow with life and fully feeling total freedom, total abundance, total love, total peace. It's like that's kind of our higher selves. And so it's kind of almost this like big brother or like big sister version of ourselves. It's like our future self that's kind of looking at us and it knows all of the little lessons that we're in and it sees us, struggling in the darkness and it kind of laughs because it knows the bigger picture of the journey and it knows that you're okay and you're enough and that you're everything you've ever imagined yourself being. So it's this kind of part of us, and as we can connect to this part of us, we begin to tap into our unique soul kind of blueprint. Like, what is our authentic essence? What are we here to do? What are our greatest gifts? What are our greatest weaknesses? Our greatest shadows that we can unlock our gifts through. So it's our deepest potential, our truth, and our deepest wisdom. Most of us are very disconnected from this because it's scary to step into this part of ourselves because we're actually afraid of being so powerful in the world and what that might mean. And our lower self. This is like our shadow, our ego, and our kind of human self. It holds our fears and our wounds and our desires, and it also holds our untapped gifts and wisdom. And this is the part that as we get into self-improvement, we get into, spiritual work or um, really the work of trying to better ourselves. This is the part that we want to get rid of. Right? I want to get rid of my lower self. I don't want to integrate my lower self into my life. I want the ego and the shadow and the human self. I want the fears and the wounds and the desire. I want those to be gone. I want to reframe my limiting beliefs so I'm not struggling with those anymore. But what if that is just spiritual bypassing or just bypassing in general or bypassing an aspect of reality that's very real in our experience? And I was on this train for a long time to rejecting the ego, not identifying with the ego part of me, which if you don't know what the ego real is, it's really the kind of self-concept of ourselves that's rooted in us being a separate a separate being than everyone else. Which like when I say that's kind of like you laugh at it because you're like, what? I am separate. And it's like, you're right. Actually, you are. And we're not. And so the ego is like this little voice in the head that says, I'm Ben and I'm from Ohio and I like running and I don't really like mm, I don't like I like a lot of things. I don't like heavy metal rock music. Right? So like that is kind of this self-concept, the way that I view myself, but that's all just an ego. That's a story about myself. But that's very important because we all came here. We're all experiencing it, aren't we? So we might as well not push it away and bypass it, but own it and honor it in our lives and honor the unique gifts and the unique experiences. When I say I'm Ben and I'm from Ohio and I went through this growing up and this, and I like it's like that's an important aspect of the character that is being played through the world. And if I'm not going to honor that, well, then I'm not honoring the character that I came here choosing to play. And that's not very fun. I'm never going to feel in alignment if I can't accept those parts of myself. And so this lower self is kind of it's more of the darkness. It's more of the harder things to accept within ourselves. But again, it holds the untapped wisdom and the gifts. So these three coming into alignment is kind of where we're heading. And when we come through this, we experience a vision for our lives that's aligned with our soul, or that's aligned with what we really came here for. When these three aspects are in harmony, it's a unique vision. The gift of what you're here to be and experience in this world is born through you. And as it's born through you, it's not like when, okay, now something's born and suddenly it's matured and it's everything that we wanted it to be. What happens when a baby's born? It's freaking helpless. And you just nurture it and you feed it and you give it its nutrients, give it water, you give it food, and you spend time with it, but it doesn't really do much at first. It's kind of like, what are we doing here? It's kind of uncomfortable. You're like, this just totally took me out of my life, my routine, and this thing's crying and it's shitting all the time. But that's kind of like what happens when we have this vision that birthed through us. It's like it begins and it's like you don't really understand it yet, and it's kind of quiet and it doesn't do that much. And you're just kind of playing with different parts. But if you can honor that it's a journey, it's a vision that's being birthed, and that this is a process of years of development and maturation and presence, well, now we really step into something different. But if we're like, oh, 2025 is going to be the year where I make this amount of money, I change this, I do this, I do this. Well, maybe, yeah. But more than likely, not all of that's going to happen the way that you want it to happen or think it's going to happen. And so as we can just kind of surrender deeper into a longer timeline and come back to here now in alignment, now we're going to actually get the things that we want in life. So source. So these are going to be some reflection questions that we're not going to spend too much time going like actually answering ourselves now, but I want you to write down these questions. And I want you, but you don't have to. I'm going to invite you to spend some time either this evening after this call or later this week or this weekend, set some intentional time to sit with these and write what's coming through. Write the wisdom that's speaking through you, whatever it is. Even if it's only a few words, begin there because that's how we find alignment. We got to begin. So when we're thinking about our alignment with source, a great question that we can ask is how can I deepen my trust in source and co-create with the universe in 2025? Rather than try to create this myself and it be me, how can I co-create with the unseen forces that want to support me, that are supporting me now? And then what would it feel like to know that I'm fully supported? And this one's important. What would it feel like to know that I'm fully supported? Not what's it like to know that I'm fully supported? Not, what might it be like? Or not like, what would it feel like to think I'm supported? Encourage you to feel like, okay, you know what? What if, just what if, you were fully supported by the power that creates universes? What would that feel like? And this one takes practice, but that is a very worthwhile investment of our time to feel into that feeling. Because as we can tap into the feeling that comes from that, we've really come more into alignment with it. And it starts by just exploring it and being open to that sensation. You don't have to decide it's this or that, or I believe it or I don't believe it. What if? Okay? Got those? Cool. I'm going to just take a real quick pause and look at the chat. Okay, beautiful. Now, our higher self. Okay, write these down. First reflection question is what truth is my higher self inviting me to embody in 2025? And so, again, you could think of your higher self like it's like the big brother version of you, it's a future version of you. What is this version of you inviting you to embody in 2025? Notice this isn't what goal is my higher self inviting me to achieve? What resolution is my higher self inviting me to accomplish? It's what truth is my higher self inviting me to embody? This is going to be more of a kind of value and energy. And this is what begins, this is what creates all things. This water right here, it's just energy. So if we can tune into the energy of water, suddenly there's water. And no, I don't usually do this out of a wine glass, but it felt classy. And it felt like it was in alignment, you know what I'm saying? So, what would my life look like if I fully embodied this truth? How would I show up, act, and live? So now we have a little bit more clarity on this truth that your higher self is fighting to embody. Now, what would life look like if you were walking in embodiment of this truth? Not just knowing it intellectually, but walking it, acting from this place. How would I show up? How would I act? How would I live? How would I show up with my romantic partner? How would I show up with my parents or with my career? Right? Okay. And then our lower self. What part of my shadow or ego needs love and integration? And actually, as I read that, an even better kind of way to write it might be what part of my shadow or ego is asking for love and integration? Because it doesn't really need it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be as it is. But what might it be asking you for? And then what wisdom or power does this part of me hold when I honor it instead of rejecting it? So now we're getting into those limiting parts of ourselves, the limiting beliefs, the stories, the suppressed emotions. Perhaps there's shame, guilt, fear, anger. pride, when you, instead of rejecting these, what if you really honored it? What if you honored the shame? What if you honored the guilt or the anger or the fear? I don't know, but I invite you to feel into what that might mean for you. And then our vision. And so as we you come into alignment with these other three aspects, you begin to reflect and it begins to come clear. Then what we can do is we can slow down and instead of trying to intellectually think of what the vision is, think, okay, now I got this and this, so now this is the vision. Slow down and feel into those three aspects and feel them within yourself. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to in live in the light. I'm going to create a follow-up meditation for everyone that's in here for this exercise. I'm going to write that down. Actually, Jared, write that down for me. So, because what we're going to do is for for those that then actually go through and you answer those questions, I'll create a meditation and a visualization exercise for you to actually get to experience um, what it might mean to begin to see a vision opening up through your heart. Does that sound good? Would you guys do that? Cool. Okay. So see this vision as a glowing light in the center of the triangle. What do you see when you begin to feel into these? What do you feel? And what is the vision inviting you to create? What is the aligned vision that's for you that nobody else may understand, but that feels like, whoa, okay, you know what? When I think about this, this feels good. This feels exciting. Okay. And then we take aligned action because this isn't just woo woo. We're going to think and we're going to feel and we're going to meditate. And then suddenly our lives are full of freedom, love, and abundance. That's not how this works. This is a co-creation process. And so we have to bridge the gap between this vision being already real and where we're standing now in this 3D reality. And that happens through action. So we got to take aligned action. And it's not just any action. It's not just like, oh, this person said to do this, so I'm going to do that. Well, that's not aligned action. That's going to take you kind of in a direction that's going to cause a lot of resistance. Then you're going to come back. And the thing is if that's what's meant to be, that's beautiful. You're going to learn from that. But we can accelerate our journey by beginning to take aligned action and by feeling into this action. Does it feel aligned within myself? Okay, so all of our visions, they manifest in the 3D world through action. So when actions are aligned, the vision that manifests is deeply fulfilling and full of freedom, love, and abundance. So when we're taking aligned action, we found kind of this energy of alignment within us. At least we have a semblance of it. And we then say, okay, yes, this feels at least like it's somewhat aligned. And so I'm going to take an action towards it. And we begin to stack those actions together over time in this moment. Again, suddenly we find ourselves at the end of this year, and you'll likely be feeling a more sense of fulfillment, freedom, love, and abundance. And this is really what we want, right? You know, a lot of people came into the workshop and in the form we filled out lots of different things. You know, I want to, and but a lot of it was feelings or more friends or leveling up my career, getting top of my class, or starting my own business, or setting better boundaries, or just feeling okay, right? And so, all of these things, what we're really looking for in these things is freedom, love, and abundance. And we find that through the alignment. Okay. So now write these down, bridging the gap. What is one aligned action that I can take this week to begin embodying my vision? What's one aligned action that I can take this week to begin embodying this vision? And then what is one non-negotiable that I will honor in 2025 to stay aligned? What is one non-negotiable I'll honor in 2025 to stay aligned? And you don't have to know these right now. Again, it's going to be in your own intentional time. Okay? So now I want to also invite us all into aligned action and share an opportunity for you to take aligned action. Can I share an invitation with you all? Is that cool if I share something? Cool. So this is something I'm really excited about, and it's called the Align 22 Challenge. It's going to be a 22-day challenge to realign with your truth. And it's going to be a free experience. So there's the only kind of barrier to entry is you feeling like it's aligned or not. That's really it. And so I'm going to share a little bit about this, and then we're going to close it off with a little exercise, kind of bridging everything that we did together. Okay. So the Align 22 Challenge is a 22-day journey that's really designed to help you integrate everything that we've explored here tonight into your daily life. It's about stepping deeper into your truth, cultivating alignment with your higher self, your lower self, and source, and creating the space to let your vision come to life. The space to let your vision, not to force it, not to force something this year, but 22 days to help you step into alignment with yourself so that you can open space to allow your vision to come to life. Okay, so on January 13th, so that's next Monday, we're going to start the free Align 22 challenge, and we're going to do it inside of Live in the Light. Okay, and I can share a little bit more about that in a moment. But really, what you'll experience in this challenge is clarity on what alignment feels like for you, so we can really solidify this alignment for you and get some one-on-one support as well, and kind of group support as you step into this to help you gather that alignment and create kind of compasses for alignment in your life, and daily practices to help you integrate your higher self and your lower self and source into your life, and support of a like-minded community in Live in the Light, where you'll also be held and inspired and connected with a community of people that are stepping into their power, and not only in 2025 but in life, where we're healing and we're being vulnerable, and the shares that we've had in the community. I mean, there's a lot of you that are in here. Drop in the chat. Who's in here right now that's also in Live in the Light? And if you're in Live in the Light, 0 out of 10, what's been your experience if 10 is the best? And you can be honest. Toast me. Toast me if you want to. 10, 10, 10, 10, 9. I love it, Richie. Being honest. Beautiful. So, point is, right? There's people in here. See who's writing these, and realize like you can go connect with them right after this in the community, and we're all connecting together. Okay, but I digress. And also, what we're going to do is we're going to build momentum that carries you into 2025 with more ease, flow, and alignment. And so 2022 or 22 days, not 21, because everyone does 2021 and 22 is way sexier. And straight up, I be seeing 22 all the time. So we're rolling with it. It's a line for me. So no fluff, no noise. I just really want to create a space where we're all coming together and we're creating something special for ourselves in 2025. Okay. So it's free. It's simple. It could shift everything, but it might not. What I would encourage you is, again, this challenge starts on the 13th. So that's next Monday. So you got some time to feel into if this feels like it's an alignment for you. But what you'll do is you will join via Live in the Light. So you'll join the Live in the Light, which is a free community. And I'm going to share a link in the chat, which actually I gotta exit out of this and find that link real quick, guys. So give me one moment. Boom. Oh no. My slides, where they be? Are you guys watching me do all this right now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I already threw it in there.
That's awesome. You're
I
on
got
it.
you, brother.
Okay, so Live in the Light. So just join there. I'll keep you updated. And then everything will be flowing through Live in the Light, all that. So if it feels like an alignment for you, great, join. We'd love to have you. And if it doesn't, great, don't join. We'd love to not have you, you know? It's whatever's in alignment. That is what I love for you. Okay. So take a deep breath. I know I need to because I got a lot of excitement coming through me right now. We began this journey by grounding. So we're going to end this journey by grounding together. All right? Slow down and close our eyes and just reconnect with the body again. And just take a deep breath and let it out. Just relax a little deeper. And do a slow scan from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet. Just noticing the sensation of the body. And be curious. Does it feel the same as when we started this call? Is there a shift? Are we heavier? Are we lighter? Are we drained? Are we inspired? Honor what your body is telling you now. And perhaps if you feel called, I invite you to ask what your body wants right now. And just right now, put your hand over your heart and give yourself some grace and love for being here. You showed up to a workshop that you felt inspired by, and you made it through the whole thing. And perhaps you took some notes, perhaps you didn't. It's okay. But give yourself just a little bit of what your body's asking for right now in honor of you. Celebrate you. And now invite in yourself at the end of 2025. Feel yourself on December 31st, reflecting back on this year. Remember back to January. Remember back to this moment when you made a new decision, when you made a new choice, when you honored your authentic alignment. And reflect on the growth that came from that choice. And feel the transformation that happened over the series of moments that made up this year. Take a deep breath to anchor this in and release, so let go of any tension. Shake out the arms if you feel called, the feet, the neck, any energy that wants to move. Beautiful. Alignment is not about perfection, my friends. It is a daily practice. And whether or not you join the Align 22 challenge, know that you have taken a powerful step tonight. And I honor you. I'm really freaking excited for you. And wow, it's wonderful to actually see everyone on a screen right now. And I'm wondering, everyone who's got their videos on, can I take a picture? If it's okay, give me a thumbs up. If it's not, turn your cameras off. All right, let's go. Yeah. All right. Sweet. Thank you all for the hour. I appreciate all of your time. I appreciate all of your energy, and I have so much freaking love for all of you. And I hope to see you in Live in the Light. I hope to see you in the Align 22 Challenge. And I'm wishing you so much for this year. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace, y'all.
Thank you, Ben.